Mayday is brought to you by JordanDene.com. That is Jordan, DENE.com. She runs an apparel and accessories company. It is fantastic stuff. This is functional fandom items. So these are t-shirts, accessories, aprons, all kinds of great things that are themed around fandoms but aren't your everyday looking stuff. So definitely go check them out. JordanDene.com. Once again, it's JORDAN, like Jordan, DENE.com. Our organization podcast partner this month is NARAL Missouri. They are Missouri's largest grassroots pro-choice organization working to protect a woman's right to a full range of reproductive health care for over 40 years. They are doing some amazing work. For more information about them, you can go to prochoicemissouri.org. That's prochoicemissouri.org to get more information about NARAL Missouri. Lastly, our wild card. It is called Geek Girl Brunch. You can find out all about them if you visit their website, geekgirlbrunch.com. This was something that is really cool, very grassroots. Started up in New York City by 3 women who were looking to start a women's-only brunch group to just talk about geeky stuff and do geeky stuff with fandoms and all kinds of things. You can visit them, geekgirlbrunch.com. They have a map and a list of their chapters. You can also apply to start a chapter in your city if this is something you are interested in. This is Mayday, the Handmaid's Tale podcast. Hey everybody, welcome. It's Justin from Mayday, joined with a very special guest today.
Oh dang.
What's going on? This is Ari. This is my daughter.
Whoa.
Say hi to the people.
What's up?
So, we are here to talk about a very special thing. We were going to talk about, what are we talking about?
Runaways.
Marvel's Runaways, which will be debuting on HULU on November 21st. That is Tuesday, for those of you keeping score at home. Just in time for the Thanksgiving holiday, for everybody to have a long weekend and binge watch some Marvel teen drama, as we were referring to it.
Very much
right?
a teen drama.
Very much a teen drama.
So
let's give them the essentials. So it's premiering this Tuesday, 11/21, on Hulu.
Yeah.
So what this is, let's read the official description.
Ooh, I haven't read the official description. I know I should be like researching these things, being a nerd, but I don't.
All right, ready? Here it is. Every teenager thinks their parents are evil, but what if they really were?
Oh, dang.
When 6 LA teens stumble onto a terrible secret, they realize their parents have been lying to them all their lives.
Whoa.
But what are their parents after, and why? While the kids investigate, the adults start to wonder if their kids are hiding secrets of their own. The parents close in on the truth just as the kids uncover a plan with devastating consequences. Now this unlikely crew of teenagers must band together to stop their parents before it's too late.
See, I was about to say relatable, and then I can't.
Why?
Because you're not in the cult.
No, I'm not in a cult.
Hopefully, I hope you and Mom are not.
But also,
in
these
some,
kids didn't think their
teenager murdering cult.
Well, these kids didn't think their parents were in a cult either. But I can assure you that, as far as you know, I'm not in a cult. So we have both watched 4 episodes, the first 4 episodes of The Runaways.
Yes.
I did not really know what to expect. I know you have read the graphic novels and the comic books, right?
Yeah. I will say the last 2 episodes, I was like kind of skipping back and forth between scenes, kind of piecing it together, just because I like to do that sometimes if I'm trying to watch a show. But
everybody watches it the way they watch it.
Yeah.
So not a big deal. So just to give people a little background and give you a little background, Eric, because I know you don't know this. So this is put together by the team of Brian K. Vaughan, who was the
original writer
of the comic book, right?
The
from
first
Marvel.
Comics.
Also, Josh Schwartz is the executive producer.
Whoa.
Do you know who he is? I don't know.
I've heard his name.
Okay, his name.
Vaguely.
You may know him.
Have
I don't know if you know.
Have I seen a TV show where he's?
He's done Gossip Girl and The OC and several other teen-oriented drama shows. Yes, and it's basically his team. So Stephanie Savage is also part of his
heard of her too.
Company, which is called Fake Empire, and they also put together.
I feel like I've heard a lot of people, but I just have never watched anything.
Stephanie Savage was also part of, in her early career, part of the development team that put together Donnie Darko. So she holds a special place in our heart.
Yes.
And Jeff Loeb, who I had not heard of, but he is I'm going to read this description to you because it's ridiculous.
Ooh.
Emmy Award nominated, Peabody Award winning writer, producer, working as a writer and producer on Marvel properties, so he works mostly on Marvel stuff now. including Jessica Jones, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Daredevil, Luke Cage, The Punisher, Legion.
Oh my god!
Basically, everything that's on Netflix right now.
Everything that's on Netflix right now that has Marvel's brand on it.
And he's also worked in the past on Smallville, Lost, and Heroes, which you don't know because you were too young, but it was kind of a precursor to all the comic book blowing up nerd stuff back on NBC.
I know.
Plus, he worked on Teen Wolf, which you saw, the 80s Teen Wolf. You did see that, yes. And
the only reason why I know that is because there's a song by Mickey Echo on it. I'm bad at life. I'm emo. Stop.
All right, so let's talk about what you thought about the show, because it is geared towards. Let me stop real quick before we get started. I would say that as far as the audience that they're targeting would be your age and older, like your kind of mid-teens to
our age
20s,
and then like parents, like parents of teenagers,
right?
Though.
Like me,
specifically parents of teenagers, not just parents of like 6-year-olds or something. Like,
right?
It's specifically targeted towards like the struggles of being a teenager and the struggles of having teenagers who hate their parents. In general.
The struggle of being a parent of the teenager.
Yeah.
And apparently being evil parents.
That comes up too. Like it actually like
goes over life stuff, right?
It goes over their life, like, and it kind of like there's a lot of like actual real life aspects. Like one of the characters was suspected of suicide or something, and like like going over with the entire gang just like split up over grief,
right?
And like it goes over like the family and like weird like friends thing that actually happened in real life, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah. It's a little more than they did in the comics, I will say.
Yeah. So let's talk about what this story actually is. So the basics of the story are that you have these kids who are all, I think the majority of them are 16, 17, with the exception of Molly, right?
Molly
is 14 in the show.
14 in the show.
So the basic premise of the show is that there is this group of friends who are all from this well-off, to-do families.
Yes. Very, very rich.
Are part of this, what's veiled as a philanthropic charity kind of group called the Pride.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not, like, they don't know it's called the Pride until later, though, which was the weird thing.
Right, but like I said, and we've had this conversation, for those of you listening at home, I've had to have this conversation with my child many times about transitioning things from books and comic books to movies that the sole responsibility of say Hulu at this point is to make a good television show. Mm-hmm. So it is not going to always be the most direct interpretation of the comic book. Now I will say what I've liked that Hulu has done, and that I've also seen Netflix do, is bring on Brian K. Vaughan as a executive producer or executive consultant, the same way they did Margaret Atwood with The Handmaid's Tale. Margaret Atwood was also an executive consultant on Alias Grace, which they just put out, and I think that obviously helps to alleviate some of the worries of the readers of these properties.
Oh yeah,
that there's not that it's going to go somewhere. Content. Right, it's the original, and at least it's sticking to the general themes of what it was.
Yeah.
In spite of the age differences, which is all stuff that can change for whatever reason.
It's not like it's not like Miss Peregrine's where everybody was like, let's switch all the ages. No, they're well within like where they're supposed to be, and the plot line is still going. So it seems to where we need to go.
So the basic plot is that once a year, the parents get together
for a quote unquote, as I do air quotes, fundraiser meeting, right. And the kids.
So when we're introduced to the kids at this point, they are all 16, 17, and
they all go to the same
14.
school.
They all go to the same school, and so they are all at this point, like kind of drifted apart. They used to be good friends because their parents have been doing this thing for a long time, right?
Whoa.
But the general premise is that they've drifted apart due to the death of one of their friends, and just life and school, and that's what happens when you're in that age. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to Alex
specifically,
who is trying to get everybody back together, right? He's trying to get the band back together, as it were, to use a reference that the parents listening to this will understand.
Oh dang.
And it's not going well, right? Everybody's
at the beginning, no.
Everybody's kind of drifted into their own groups.
Stupid Chase.
Right. So let's talk about some of the characters we have here, which is let's talk about Nico, right? Because Nico is the sister of Amy, who is the friend that has passed away.
Yes.
And Nico is taking the loss rather hard. And,
yes. She took it very hard.
Trying to figure out where she fits in the group.
Yes.
And having a hard time, and she's gone.
And also the fact that her mom is like...
Her mom is
Her mom is awful.
Yeah, her mom has...
Her dad's relatively cool.
Dad seems cool. Mom's a little tense about everything. Has an alarm on the room, like when somebody goes in there. I think it's on the whole house, but
like the whole house, like
they all get alerted to whoever's in our room. So anytime
but
anybody
then like
goes,
it's AI, so then Nico can talk to it and control it.
Right.
It's
yeah, and that plays into a lot of things later. But she is starting to sport what my generation would call the goth look. Yes. As it were. So that's kind of the direction she's
That's what my generation calls it too.
Well, that's because my generation invented it. You're welcome. So also we have Chase. Chase is if we had to stereotype Chase, he would be your big. No, he's not dumb though. He would be your jock.
He's not dumb.
His parent, Victor Stein, is his dad.
Victor is awful.
And his dad is played by James Marsden, who was Spike from Buffy.
Yep.
And he is like your de facto mad scientist, angry inventor. So Chase is kind of your heartthrob jock kind of guy. And he's kind of
like a good guy jock.
Right, good guy jock. So he's like falling in with some jerks, but I think he's doing it just to try to be cool. And then, but he's still like he wants to.
And then he says Carolina, like, "Yay, cool dude," even though you're still kind of a de facto jock. Like,
so let's talk about Carolina, who Chase does save.
My girl.
So Carolina is the daughter of one of her mom is in charge.
The ringleader. She's the ringleader.
Well, so she is the leader. And what is the name of the church?
The Giverin.
The Giverin.
The Church of Giverin.
Yes, and
I think is that how you pronounce it.
It's very much kind of in the Scientology vein, as in it's not a Christian religion.
It is. And it is so Scientology.
And you don't know what it's about so far. But they don't give you very much to go on.
It's like the light aspect where like you're searching for the light.
There might be some kind of alien thing we don't know.
Scientology-esque. I don't even know what to do with myself.
So Carolina is what we would. She's the pretty blonde one.
She's the pretty blonde Christian girl.
Right. She's pretty blonde church girl that is happy all the time and positive all the time, but is kind of masking some pain behind it. Right. And so it kind of turns everybody off. That's the big thing. Like when she goes back to school. Yeah, she's like,
no, please don't. And then Gertz goes all like, it's like feminist heroin, except it's bad feminist heroin.
She is a little harsh.
She is.
So let's talk about Molly first, because I think Molly plays into this probably.
Molly
the first 4
episodes.
Molly, it's it's an interesting thing to me that Molly is the youngest of the group. But yet she is the
most mature.
The most mature out of all of them.
And well-developed character so far.
Very well-developed and very headstrong and doesn't really take crap from any of them and kind of is the only one.
That's kind of how she is in the comics, too. Like, she's kind of childish in the comics, but, like, that also goes along with her age. But at the same time, she's not dumb.
Right.
She also took down Wolverine in one punch, though, so, I mean, let's just...
Anybody that can do that.
But so far, I really love her character specifically.
Her character is awesome. And her and Gert's parents are pretty funny because they're like crunchy granola scientists.
They are crunchy granola scientists.
And they're hilarious. Yeah, so Molly is Gert's sister. Weird. So Gert is 16, and Gert is kind of your social justice warrior, as they say. So, give me your overall thoughts on the show.
Oof. All right. Full on nerd mode here. So,
did you enjoy it?
I did. I will say it was very just like a lot of teen drama type stuff. And we didn't see like a lot of character development yet.
Right.
But I think that's only because we're 4 hours.
It's still kind of world building through the first 4.
Like, it's mostly world building. It is also like at the moment the characters like you see them as the stereotypes.
Right.
But then you kind of delve into the fact that they're not. Mm-hmm. So far, Molly has been the only one to really fully break out of that mold.
I think what it does is it's showing you that even the people that are trying to be these stereotypes, underneath, they're not really those people. Chase. Right. And the other interesting thing was why it feels like the character development does take a little bit longer is because they're doing it from 2 sides, right? You got to do the parents. Yeah, you got the parents. And you have the kids.
Yeah.
And I did think it was interesting that they did the first 2 episodes. They did basically the same story, same day from both perspectives.
Yeah, that was cool.
So the episode 1 is from the kids' perspective, and then episode 2 kind of goes into what the parents did that same day.
In the comics, they don't really go into the parents that much.
Right.
Like, at all. So you don't really know their deal. You get, like, background as to, like, oh, Chase's dad sucks. Oh, Nico's mom is, like, hyper control. Oh, Gert's mom is weird as heck.
Yes.
But then, like, other than that, you don't get much.
So I'm going to guess we're going to get a little more character development with the parents because that's kind of what this show is
which
based
I kind of
around.
like.
So, you know, from the description that we're given to give a non-spoiler review of this, they do discover that their parents are up to something that is slightly more nefarious than what they were being told. And that and they kind of walk in on it.
They do.
Literally.
All because they're idiots and they're bad at hiding secret doors.
Yes.
Really bad at hiding secret doors.
Yes. So parents have to learn how to hide things from their children. And it gets harder as you get older, right?
Yeah.
Because you get sneakier.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. So it's interesting watching this as a parent, watching you watch it as a teenager, and seeing what you think about the parents versus what I think watching the kids.
I liked how they did, I like how they messed around with race, because, in the comics, Nico's Asian, Alex is African American, but then you don't really get much diversity other than that.
So overall, we are. What would you, if we're giving this a letter grade? What are you giving it?
Letter grade
for the first 4 episodes. Given that we've only seen the first 4 episodes.
Letter grade B.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
A
solid B, maybe B
solid
plus.
B, maybe a B plus, but
definitely
not an A yet.
Trending towards an A.
We're going up.
We're trending towards an A, but
as the character development, I feel like as of episode 4, we have officially begun full-on character development.
Right. They've built the world. We know what we're in. Mostly.
We know that we're mostly in a cult and things are happening. Things are happening.
So,
that is an excellent description.
So, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it'll be interesting to watch it with you, watching a show about parents and teenagers together to see where all that goes. And it'll be interesting to see the perspective of watching all the shenanigans. The parents were fairly realistic. Not all of them were completely dysfunctional, which was good because they didn't make them all crazy.
And not everybody had an affair.
Right.
Which was nice.
Right. And so there is some dysfunction as there tends to be with
a lot of dysfunction
people.
On
both kids are dysfunctional and there's a lot going on. But they handle it well and everybody's kind of given their equal time.
Yeah,
and so
which was nice. I was afraid that
people were going to get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, where it would be what's happening?
Yeah, so there's some definitely cool stuff. You don't necessarily have to be a comic book person per se, because the vast majority of this, even though there are some powers and some crazy stuff going on, it's more focused on your human drama of that with that stuff kind of sprinkled in for effect.
First episode pilot is mostly getting to know the characters and just being oh yeah, A, our parents are in a cult, B, we don't get along anymore, whoa.
Right, typical teenager stuff, right?
Twister.
Right, let's play Twister. So that's it. Yeah, we gave it a solid B, and we're really excited to see more. It comes out on Tuesday, the 21st.
Whoop, whoop.
So
how are they releasing that?
I believe, according to, I think they were just releasing all of them. I don't know if they're doing the weekly. I don't think they are. I know for Future Man, which just came out, they just released the whole thing. But I do not know that for sure. I believe all the episodes will be there Tuesday.
No, it's not Hulu. Never mind. Sorry.
So definitely check it out. I would say that it's definitely appropriate for middle school and older.
14.
There's nothing crazy, but definitely probably 14 and up. I would say that TV 14 rating is probably right about perfect.
Right there.
Because there's some things like high school party type stuff, and then a little bit of violence that probably younger kids are not going to understand, or you aren't going to want to talk to them about it as a parent.
No.
But nothing graphic or
nothing
crazy.
Graphic.
And nothing too triggering. I mean, there's a few things that happen at the party.
Yeah,
but it's definitely appropriate to watch with. It'll be, I think, a family could watch this.
Could watch.
With an older teenager like you, 14 to middle school to high school and older.
Look at me. I'm within the age limits.
Good for you.
Doobly doo.
So, I appreciate you joining me for this.
You're welcome.
Review of Hulu's Marvel's Runaways.
Whoop, whoop.
Talk to you later. Thanks, Ari. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Please head over to allconsumingcontent.com for more great podcasts. You can check out Back to the Money Bin, a DuckTales podcast, Player vs. Player podcast, and Blues Hockey podcast. You can also check out our radio station at Handmaid's Resistance Radio. That is on Slacker Radio or for free on the Slacker app.